This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Amegy, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Let's go, bro. What we got? Need some juice, need some energy, and just do your job. Punch the ball. Here comes pressure. He's going to go down. Touchdown, Houston. Rock and roll.
Texans Extra Points is right now, and my name's Drew Dougherty, and you know it's special when a Pro Bowler like Wade Smith joins us, and it's extra special as well when, from Sports Radio 610, Sean Pendergast is here, hosts the pregame show, hosts the postgame show, in addition to Monday through Friday in the mornings with Seth Payne. Guys, we have so much to discuss because football is back, right?
Coming off a bye week, excited for a game against the Vegas. Let's get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Texans actually are the team with the better record in this game, which I don't think a lot of people expected looking into the season here.
How wild is that? We're going to get into that and much, much more. Plus, these guys are breaking out their crystal balls and looking into the future for some things on offense. And we do the over-under on defense. Plus, we'll break down what the Raiders have to offer. And as always, we've got keys to a victory. But guys, let's begin talking about the offense, and let's specifically talk about the most exciting player on this team, Dameon Pierce, running the rock, doing a great job of it. And you hear from guys like the defensive coordinator for the Raiders this week say, hey, I appreciate good football, and I like watching him play. What might the week of self-scouting by the Texans assistants and offensive staff and the week off do for a guy like Dameon Pierce as far as maybe seeing even different ways to scheme him up and get him loose?
Well, I'll tell you what, first and foremost, I know you're talking about scheme, but that bye week I think is going to help Dameon Pierce physically because he's been having a lot of touches, and the way he runs the ball, you want to get that physical break from the pounding that you're taking, playing and play out. So you definitely want to acknowledge that part of it. As far as the schematic approach, like, listen, offensive coordinators, guys like Pep Hamilton, they use this time to self-scout and figure out ways to get him the ball. Whether it's using him more in the passing game, getting him in different formations, using different shifts and motions just to dress it up and window dress it. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up giving him the ball and utilize your best asset. And that's what he's been so far for the Texans.
I know, have had fun talking with him when you've been on the air with Pierce. You've had even more fun watching him play. What's the final 12 games of the season looking like for him, you think?
Well, I think Wade makes a great point about the bye week giving him a chance to rest. He's going to wind up with a workload in one season more than he had in the last two seasons at Florida at this rate. So I think that's a big thing with him. I think getting him the ball in space a little bit more in the passing game is something I would have looked at as well during the off week. And ball security, I think, is a big thing for him as well. He's put the ball on the ground a few times. It hasn't come back to bite the Texans yet, but I know that's a big focus item for him from talking to him on the postgame show a couple
All right,
weeks ago.
Wade's the perfect guy to talk and ask about this offensive line play. You played in the league for a decade plus. You went to a Pro Bowl. You were a left guard here, the best left guard in team history. Let's see your idea. What have you seen from this Texans offensive line? It looks like it's better than it has been around here the last 5-6 years.
I'm seeing the physicality up front. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil is back to being Laramie Tunsil. You know, last year he had an injury situation. This year he's back to being that elite left tackle that you need. Talk about the left guard spot being the best in the franchise history.
Guys gunning for that spot.
I feel like Kenyon Green is going to surpass me in the near future. He's got everything you want. He's very physical at the point of attack. He doesn't look like a rookie out there. He looks like, sometimes you say when you have a rookie, you say he's having a good year for a rookie. No, he's having a good year, period. And so I'm excited to see him continue to grow and get better. A.J. Cann came in here, just been solid at the right guard spot. Titus Howard's been playing well. We had some in and out with the center position, but Quisenberry's been doing well. And so I'm just really excited about what these guys are going to be able to do going forward.
Look, you're 1-3-1, so a lot needs to be better. But one thing I think that's been pretty good is offensive line. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the big things is there's been some cohesion this year. One of the things that was great about the offensive line you played on, Wade, particularly in 2011, you guys, all five of you, played pretty much the whole season. And I think you can speak to it better than I can, but that seemed like something that was really, that helps in terms of building the chemistry, and especially chemistry with the new running back there as well. So I think that's one of the things I've really liked is health along the offensive line, early on in the season.
They were 5 fingers coming together as a fist. So let's talk crystal balls. Let's start with you. You get your crystal ball out. What's the crystal ball hold for Nico Collins? Because he's starting to do some things, and I think it could even get even better, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Nico is a guy, he is, I don't want to overshoot it and say he's become the go-to guy. But he's starting to kind of catch up to his physical traits, if you will. He's been a good guy over the middle. We've seen him get deep a couple times. And I think he is a guy, I think, by the end of the year, when we look up at the stats, he might wind up being the #1 wide receiver.
All right, we got to do a telestrator, and for that, we turn to our good pal, John Harris. He's breaking down a nice pass from Mills that found Jordan Akins, as well as a fun run by Dameon Pierce.
It's been really fun to watch Dameon Pierce through these first 5 games of the year, and he really exploded on the scene against Denver. There were some runs in that game against Denver. Wow, really popped off the screen. It's also fun when another rookie pops off the screen. Let's take a look at this run against Denver in the first quarter. Texans motion into trips here. So Brandon Cooks came across, and he's going to set up a trips formation. So Texans are just going to run outside zone out of shotgun this side. Dameon is going to do a great job finding the hole, good vision. He knows to stay with it here. He sees this block by Scotty. He's like, all right, that's good block. I can stay to it. I can bang this. There are 3 things on a zone run that you can do. All right? And Dameon's going to go, he can bang it. I'm sorry, he can bend it, bang it, or bounce it. He sees enough blocking that he's going to just stay on the bang it track. So he gets that from Scotty. Scotty's locking him up. Even though that nose tackle can get one hand, he can't get enough. So Scotty stays on that. And then he gets a great block here from Kenyon Green. Man, he takes that linebacker as Kenyon combos off the 5 technique with Laramie, helps Laramie out a little bit, gets a little bit of push. That gives Laramie opportunity to stand that block. Then Kenyon comes up and gets the linebacker. So let's take a look at this run from this angle. It's a better angle here. You see Brandon go motion. You're going to see right here, Kenyon, Laramie, they're going to bounce Purcell here. And then Kenyon's going to go up to 49. So Dameon's going to go on that path, get that block, and then he's going to start showing what makes Dameon Pierce special, and that is his feet and his power. That's a pretty good seam right there. And then the spin, look at the spin move. Whoop. You got nothing, Caden Stearns. Whoop. All right, let's take a look at Kenyon Green. Off the combo, bang. Look at him take on Singleton. Look at how far Singleton moves once he hits him. Hits him, boom, moves him out of the hole, stays on him, just fighting with people. And then there's Dameon Pierce fighting for 11 yards. A lot of good things happening in the run game, and obviously Dameon is a representative of that. The old line is getting some movement too, especially on that left side with Kenyon Green and Larry Tunsil.
Here's the snap, and here's the give to Pierce, running left and turning it up. Avoiding a tackle, takes it across the 30 and 35 before he's brought down. First down carry, Dameon Pierce, give him 11 yards.
Ever since Jordan Akins has been with the Texans back in 2018 and then returning in 2022, he's just made big plays. Out in LA in 2019, 2 huge touchdowns and a win over the Chargers. This is another big one against the Jaguars in our recent game against them in a win. You're going to see him right here. He's going to be this guy right here, the number 3 receiver. Always number from outside in. 1, 1, 2, 3. And the Jags are going to play cover 2. But Pep Hamilton OC is going to design this play up with hard inside by Tyler Johnson, hard inside by Brandon Cooks. And if this corner goes with Brandon, then that's going to leave Ake out here wide open. And that's what happens. I don't know if wide open, but he's open. The NFL, a couple yards room is actually wide open. So Jaguars trying to get set up, 3rd and 10, got to have it, empty, set. Davis sees something, moves Nico in, and all of a sudden you'll see this. You see Brandon go inside here. So Brandon goes inside, and he's having a hard time getting back out. He went too far in with Brandon. Now, if you're going, well, wait a second, he could have just easily stayed here. And that throw right there to Brandon would have been open. So they essentially high-load this corner with Brandon on the sail, and then Ake out here on the flat route. He's then going to catch it, and now he's short of the sticks. And this is where I love, Akins knew exactly. He told us in an interview this week, I knew I was short. I had to get out there, extend the ball, and get that first down. Now, how big a play was that? The very next play, Dameon Pierce made his run, the famous run, all the way down to the 1 yard line. Don't make that play, Dameon Pierce doesn't make his play, and who knows what happens in Jacksonville. But Akins did make that play, Dameon did make his play, and the Texans walked out of there with a 13-6 win.
Davis gets the snap. Davis looking, Davis throwing to the right sideline, hits Akins, reaching for the marker right sideline, and it's good for a first down at the 28-yard line. Fitzpatrick digs in, backs up to throw, swings it out right side, caught J.J. Watt! Oh my goodness! J.J. Watt with the touchdown reception as the Texans get their touchdown to number 99.
Yes, the Texans beat the Raiders in 2010. Wade Smith was on the field. They also did it in 14 there when J.J. Watt caught a touchdown pass. As we know, J.J. Watt played defense mainly, and that's what we're going to talk about now with Wade Smith, Sean Pendergast. So, finish this sentence, please. Better watch out, because what encourages me most about the Texans defense is...
It's not just the young guys in the secondary, but Garrett Wallow getting some playing time last game. He looked very good. I like the fact that Christian Harris might be available for this game. I want to see what he looks like. Just the young pieces on the defense in general is definitely something to get excited about with the defense, but then also the veteran guys like Jerry Hughes going out there and balling. He looks like Jerry Hughes from 5-6 years ago. We're loving that. You're seeing guys like Green getting pass rush. You're seeing Malik Collins causing havoc in the backfield. I think it's the combination of the old and the young with the Texans defense that's something to be excited about.
Yeah, so with all that in mind, let's talk about Stingley. You guys touched on him. What effect do you think he has on offenses as far as when they're planning and getting ready for the week? They got to worry about him. What do you think they're thinking when they see him out there?
Well, if they're watching film closely, they're seeing that this is a smart player. They're seeing that he's a guy that will bait quarterbacks. And so if you're a quarterback, you can't just say to yourself, I'm going to try him because he's the rookie. He's not playing like a rookie. And so anytime you have one of your DBs that's playing at a high level, one of your cornerbacks that's playing at a high level, now you can do some things with your coverages to try to double team somebody else or roll coverage over a really good tight end. And so that's something that helps the Texans defense tremendously.
All right, let's talk about, he mentioned Christian Harris. Whether he plays or not on Sunday, when this guy gets back into the lineup, gets onto the field, what's he going to mean for the defense, specifically for the linebacking?
Well, it's hard to know exactly at the NFL level what he means because he didn't practice very much in training camp. I mean, he's been out, with the hamstring injury since virtually the beginning of camp. But we know the physical traits that had the Texans so excited the night they drafted him or the day they drafted him. That was the pick where Nick Caserio and Lovie Smith exchanged a big bro hug with each other. Yeah, so we know that they at least get faster in that linebacking core. They become more athletic. So I think at the very least we know what the physical traits are, and we know that Christian Harris is probably going to run down on special teams as well. And what's already been a great special teams unit.
It's been a superlative special team. I mean, this has been, it makes you wonder how the hell did this team lose 3 games so far, because they've been doing so many things differently and better than they have in years past. Yep. Christian Harris, first impressions of him from what you saw in camp and what you knew about him as a collegian.
I tell you what, in the Lovie Smith defense, the linebackers need to be athletic, rangy, and really good tacklers. Yeah. And those are the things that he showed while he was in college. So hopefully that can translate to the NFL level. And if so, then the Texans will have a steal.
All right, you just bring up tackles, and that leads us into our Texans trivia, because who is leading the Texans in tackles through 5 games? We'll have that answer later on in Texans Extra Points.
Pierce again, over the middle, 20, breaks a tackle, 15, 10, gang tackle inside the 5. Does he stay on his feet? He does, down to the 2-yard line. What a run by Dameon Pierce.
Going to be a rock'em sock'em football game on Sunday in Las Vegas, because look at that. 2 of the 4 best running backs as far as yards after contact. One of them is Dameon Pierce, the other is Josh Jacobs. That's a next-gen stat presented by AWS, and this is Texans Extra Points coming at you from the Ford Studios. Drew Dougherty, Wade Smith, and Sean Pendergast. Fellas, how about these Raiders? They're pretty good. despite what the record says. We think, at least that's what we've heard Lovie Smith say, and so on and so forth. So we know Josh Jacobs is good, so you better watch out, or Josh Jacobs will complete that sentence.
He's going to run through you. He's very similar in running style as Dameon Pierce is, so they see that guy every day in practice. Josh Jacobs is in a contract year for him. He didn't get his fifth-year option from the Raiders, and so he's been running like it. He's been running like he's got something to prove. He's a very talented running back. You see Dameon Pierce, the SEC running back. You see, Josh Jacobs, same things. A lot of physical running backs from the SEC, and he's right along that same ilk. So they're going to have to tackle. They're going to have to gang tackle. It can't be just a one-on-one type thing because he rarely gets tackled by the first guy.
And they're probably going to have to play the game of their season as far as the run defense goes, because it's been leaky thus far. What's the sentence end like for you?
He allows them to grind and possess the clock, and it feels like the Raiders might start skewing more in that direction just because the passing game hasn't been that good. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams have not been able to really connect that much. So I think the Raiders, against what the spread says is an inferior team, they're going to want to get out of there with the win. So he shortens the game, allows them to grind a lot of clock.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about the Carr-Adams connection not being what we kind of thought it was. I still sort of think it's kind of early, right? I mean, I think they're going to get theirs, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 5 games in. Yeah, no question.
What's the most impressive aspect about those two getting together?
Well, those guys have known each other for years and years. They go back to college together. Both of them are very talented separately. You're just waiting to see how that magic is going to look like together. Devontae Adams, and that's the thing. They're not having the success you might have wanted this early if you're a Raiders fan. But when you look at it, he's getting double teamed, he's getting triple teamed. Everybody is trying to figure out ways to slow him down and stop that passing attack. I think the big thing is, hey, what's going to happen with a guy like Hunter Renfrow? Desmond King, Hunter Renfrow. Those are the type of matchups that I think offshoot that are going to be very important in this game.
Yeah, and then on the other side of the ball, Raiders defense spearheaded by a guy like Max Crosby. I mean, what do you see from him, and what do you see from the rest of that unit? It's been a struggle for them.
So Max Crosby, first of all, is from the great state of Texas, and so he's the best of both worlds. He's got a guy that's super athletic, but he also has a high motor as well. And so he's going to give you the first move, the second, and the third move. He's gone through a lot of difficulties in his life, but he's overcome it. And so, from that perspective, he's a guy that Titus Howard is going to have to strap it up and be ready to go to work.
Interesting you say that, because it's time to get our Texans to watch. So with what he just said, who's your Texan to watch on Sunday?
Titus Howard. Titus Howard is mine for sure. They'll move Max Crosby around a little bit, but if you watch a lot of the cut-ups for the Raiders this year, a lot of the havoc that Max Crosby winds up wreaking is coming off of the right side, coming off of that side. And if I'm the Raiders, he's my best pass rusher. I want to put him over there over top of Titus Howard. Whatever happens with Laramie Tunsil happens with Laramie Tunsil. There'll be Chandler Jones on the other side, who doesn't have any sacks yet for the Raiders, but he has been applying pressure. He's got almost as many pressures as Max Crosby. It's just that Crosby's been able to get the quarterback on the ground.
Yeah, he's still Chandler Jones too. So who's your Texan to watch?
Once again, it's Davis Mills. I did this show probably a month ago, and it was Davis Mills coming into the season. It's still Davis Mills. I think he still has opportunities out there for him to build upon what he's done to this point, finding ways to get Nico Collins the ball, finding ways to reignite his connection with Brandon Cooks, finding ways to get the ball to Dameon Pierce out of the backfield. I think Davis Mills has a big challenge in front of him. And this defense is not one of those defenses that's scary per se. Right. And so he's going to have opportunities to make plays. He's just got to go out there and do it.
And let's make some plays with Nico Collins. He's my Texan to watch. 7 catches of 20 yards or more through the first 5 games. Let's see him add to that number. Let's go deep, because Dameon Pierce can pop you underneath as a running back. All right, we got to get 2 keys to a victory after the break. Texans Extra Points is rolling on.
Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
Earlier, we asked you which Texan is leading the team in tackles with 46. So, Wade, who is it?
Jalen Pitcher.
Close.
J.O. Jonathan Owens.
Jonathan Owens is the guy. Yeah, you're thinking in the right position, but it is Jonathan Owens. Remarkable story. Before this season, he had never been on the 53 to start a season, so he's playing pretty well. Okay, it's that time of the show, Sean Pendergast and Wade Smith, where we have 2 keys to a Texan victory. What must Houston do in Las Vegas to come away with a dub?
Well, I think the big thing for me on the field, tackle. They got to tackle. You know, it's been a problem this year. It's gotten a little better. It was really bad at the beginning of the year, but to the point that you were making earlier with the next-gen stats, Josh Jacobs and Dameon Pierce are very similar running backs. Stylistically, they look the same. The running style is the same. They got to tackle. They've got to make sure that they get Josh Jacobs on the ground. They don't give up any big chunk plays to guys' yards after the catch either. My second one is more of just an overall one. Nick Caserio. At some point in the game on Sunday, will there be a play or two that because of tendencies, my guess is Nick Caserio is probably a little more involved in this game plan than other game plans he's been involved in because of that relationship with Josh McDaniel.
Yeah, and on top of that, one of McDaniel's brothers is also a coach here. He's the wide receivers coach. So there's a lot of intimate knowledge that you're referencing the Texans have about the head coach of the Raiders. How about you? What's your 2 keys?
First thing, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the matchup of Desmond King against Hunter Renfrow is going to be big time. I think that's going to be the key, one of the main keys to victory. I feel like the Texans are going to do things to double Devontae Adams and take him out of the game. Waller's banged up, so you really don't have to worry about him. But the guy that you do have to worry about is Hunter Renfrow, and I feel like that's going to be a one-on-one matchup that Desmond King is going to have to win. So that's the first one. And the second thing, I feel like Dameon Pierce has to touch the ball 25 times. Okay. I don't know how you touch it. It could be 15 runs and 10 catches. It can be 5 catches and 20 runs. But he's got to touch the ball 25 times at minimum. And if he does that, I think he's going to dictate time of possession. I think he's going to dictate, enforcing their will and putting their will against the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's how the Texans will come out with the W.
All right, we're all kind of going to have the same idea, so since it's Vegas, I'll double down on it. Yeah, there's no laugh track. But the Texans need to match that strength with strength. They've got to be able to run the ball. They've got to be able to stop the run. Not stop it, but limit the damage that Josh Jacobs does. But yeah, I'm with you. I want to see Dameon Pierce touch the ball a lot. I want to see him touch it with a lot of success. And then on top of that, these Texans, they've got to be able to go deep from time to time because, hey, everybody knows they're going to try and give it to Dameon Pierce quite a bit. Hey, Sean, Wade, really appreciate seeing you. Loved having you on. This is fun, as always. And we appreciate you checking us out here on Texans Extra Points. Going for win number 2 of the year against the Raiders in Las Vegas, and they'll be back against the Titans here at NRG Stadium next Sunday. Till then, so long.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.